Top 10 Nightwing butt shots that give me a lady boner. Now that I've got your attention, welcome back to Not BuzzFeed. So on July 4th, I put up on Twitter, since it's popular for some reason and I need a video idea, give me your popular / unpopular comic book opinion / hot takes. Go. Got a few replies. Thank you to all that replied. Gave their opinions, hot takes, popular or unpopular. So let's get into it. So first off, we had Spider-Side Ghoul with "Don't really have one, lol." Thanks for participating. Moving on, we've got Exalted Speed with "Continuity matters for story, no matter how much creators say it doesn't. At the end of the day, when a creator tries to shock us, it relies on us caring and knowing about the character for it to work." I absolutely agree. Somebody send this tweet to Brian Michael Bendis. Then we have Thinking Critical, who has a YouTube channel, by the way. You should go subscribe. Link in the description. So he has a few opinions that he gave. First one, Valiant Comics isn't publishing one book worth reading. I'm going to somewhat agree with this. I don't read Valiant. A lot of what they put out doesn't seem to interest me, and they have this weird comic book strategy where everything isn't an ongoing, everything is a mini-series. So there are numerous mini-series of one character. It's like, here's Bloodshot and the 20,000 mini-series he has. We're not going to tell you the reading order. Good luck with that. Valiant isn't the only one that really does this. Zenescope does that. They have one ongoing series and everything else has a few mini-series, but Zenescope, what they put out is actually interesting, catches my attention, and is high quality. Valiant, I really can't say the same. Nothing from there really has interested me, especially none of their recent stuff, so I'm going to agree with Wes on that one. Then he says, Marvel has 2 to 3 times more top shelf titles than DC right now. Marvel, Immortal Hulk, Daredevil, Venom, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Life Story, DC, Hawkman, Doomsday Clock, Batman, TMNT, number 3. I'm going to both agree and disagree here. So I agree with a lot of those Marvel titles. I don't read Spider-Man Life Story, but I've heard it's really good, so I'm going to pick up the trade. Daredevil, the first 5 issues are great. Issue number 6, it drops in quality. Number 7, it slightly picks up. DC, I have nothing particularly wrong with any of those 3 that he's listed, although you do have to take into account the delays for Doomsday Clock. That's really kind of hindered that series. But I would add a couple more there. Tomasi's Detective Comics, despite the ending of his first arc, both arcs that he's done are really, really good. Justice League, despite the fact that it's not an easy series to jump in on. You really have to do it from the beginning. It's what each story connects to one another, to the grand scheme, to the grand story of what Justice Doom War is. So, as Ash on Comics put up, another YouTube channel you should subscribe to, link in description. He also added those 2 series and a few others as well. And onto Wes's Thinking Critical's third opinion. Watchmen is alright, but Saga of the Swamp Thing is Alan Moore's pinnacle achievement. I haven't read Saga of the Swamp Thing. I've heard it's good. I will get to it eventually. But I'm going to agree with this. I think Watchmen is highly overrated. It's on this people put it on this pinnacle as like, this is like the greatest comic book of all time. It's like, I wouldn't really say so. It's a good deconstruction of superheroes, but is it the greatest comic book of all time? No, and I really don't think it would be Alan Moore's best, given his like bibliography, discography, whatever, with all the stuff that he's written. Watchmen is very overrated, so I'm going to agree with this opinion. And Thinking Critical's last opinion is Diamond's collapse will be the final nail in the coffin for the industry as we know it. I'm going to agree with this here. A lot of the comic book publishers are so reliant on Diamond, despite the fact a lot of their practices aren't particularly good, and how they post a lot of their comics is just like, here is your comics. Ignore the fact that it's damaged for some reason, but hey, it's not like we could have done anything to prevent that. But Yeah, I think publishers are so reliant on Diamond that if Diamond did collapse, the industry would go with it. Because I really don't think there is a good enough alternative to Diamond that currently exists. If there is, let me know. But I think at this moment there is no like good alternative that could replace Diamond, unless you built something from the ground up. But that would take a while. Ghetto Machine puts, as much as I love 90s Vertigo, there's no way a relaunch of Vertigo could ever be anything like that. A lot of the topics and themes that would be covered in those comics show up in the mainline stuff now, often poorly. I agree with this. Vertigo, like 90s Vertigo, is definitely a product of its time. Um, no Hellblazer, Sandman, all of that. I've read Hellblazer. I really love Hellblazer. It's great, but with how DC is now, I agree with Ghetto Machine. Like a lot of stuffs that Vertigo would primarily cover already exists in the main line. So, what would be the point of having a separate imprint if the main imprint, which is DC Comics or DC Universe as they label it, has that already? And that's ignoring the fact that the recent Vertigo line was completely terrible. Like almost, not even almost, pretty much everything they had there was bad. It was a terrible line to begin with, and they ended Vertigo. Wow, what a success! And on to Greg Martin's opinion, he puts Miller's work with Mazzucchelli, I hope I got that right, on Daredevil and Bill S. on Elektra is superior to any of his Batman work, Dark Knight Returns, or Year One. They are high points of American comics. A few people agreed with this, so I really have no opinion on this. I've only read Miller's Dark Knight's Return. I liked that. Quite wordy, but I like the story. I haven't read his Daredevil. I heard it's good. I haven't read his Elektra. I've heard that's good. Haven't read Year One either. I've heard that's good. So I really have nothing to add to this, to Greg Martin's opinion. The Centering the Void talk, Nazar puts Liam Sharp's art is not fit for Green Lantern at all. His art is better fitted for something that deals with magic. I agree with this. I do like Sharp's art in Green Lantern. It works really well with the weirdness that is Grant Morrison and his writing, but Sharp is much suited for something to do with fantasy. Look at his Batman, Wonder Woman, Brave and the Bold miniseries. The art in that is amazing, and given that it's like a fantasy folklore setting, the art works really well there. So definitely 100% agree. It is much better suited to something with magic, aka fantasy, medieval, whatever. Claylex's opinion is Jay Lee was great in the early 2000s, but now his art is putrid. I haven't checked up on what Jay Lee's like early 2000s art was, but I've seen his most recent stuff. He did a few variants, I think like 2 maybe, for Justice League. And if you know me, and if you see my posts on Twitter of like what I get on New Comic Book Day, I always get variants for Justice League because the covers are great. B, it's my money. I'm happy to spend extra just on a second copy because it has a different cover. But Jay Lee's ones, I avoided. I did not think they looked good. So I'm gonna have to an extent, I'm gonna have to agree with Claylex's opinion there. Luke, that's a real cool hand. His is deconstruction and decompression are just about done killing superhero comics, more so than agenda-driven woke writing and terrible art. 100% agree. Fuck deconstruction. I do not like seeing these writers thinking, I want to be the new Alan Moore. Sit down, shut the fuck up. No, you can't. You cannot be the new Alan Moore. Even Alan Moore doesn't want to be Alan Moore anymore, okay? No one likes deconstruction, especially when everyone wants to do it at the same time. Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Daredevil. Why do we get these deconstructions? Because apparently when a new writer starts, they have to do something big, and they have to take the character back to stage 1 and build them back as they were before. It's so fucking stupid. Can you not? Is it impossible for you to just continue someone's work? It doesn't help when it also has to relaunch the title as well. It's like, oh, there's a new writer, better relaunch for a new number one. Deconstruction is terrible. Same with decompression. It is an overused trope for comics. You are not Alan Moore. Please stop it, okay? So 100% agree. It's killing superhero comics. And yeah, more so than agenda-driven woke writing and terrible art. Yeah, woke writing, there really isn't particularly a lot of that. That was more prevalent in like all different Marvel Now 2.0 era of comics. That was when woke writing was at its highest. Like now it's slightly died down. You still see some like every now and again, but more so than ever, it's just deconstruction and decompression, which is just flooding comics. Centric guy's opinion is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the best book no one is reading. There, I don't read it, so I have no take on this opinion. Heroes Punching 2019, he has a couple. I assume he. Sorry if I assumed your gender, but first one is anything involving DC's New Gods is like a Nightcrawler. Yeah, I'm going to agree, especially with recent stuff like Mr. Miracle and Female Furies. Mr. Miracle just became a convoluted, boring mess. Like the first half was good, and then afterwards it's just like, what even is the point of this comic? It's bad. It tried to be a I'm so deep and emotional, psychological for you. Look at my fucking intellect. It's so much for you, isn't it? Like it's and the fact that like there's people praising it as like the greatest comic of like 2018, 2019. It's like, shut up, your opinions are terrible. You can have them, but that is a terrible fucking opinion to say that Mr. Miracle is one of the best comics of 2019/2018. That is a terrible opinion to have. Heroes Punching 2019 second opinion is comic artists are more important to the end product than comic writers. I'm both going to agree and disagree with this. Good art really does improve the story within a comic. It does make it much better. But given that comic books are primarily story driven, a narrative, so writing, I would say that technically the writer would be much more important. Like if you want to look at good pictures, buy a picture book. I do agree to an extent, but I also disagree with the fact that they are more important than the writer. They are equally important. What you should strive for is a comic that has both great writing and great art. You shouldn't put one above the other. And to finish it off, Cole W. Baker has 4 opinions. First one, Damian Wayne is the best Robin. No, I'm going to say Dick Grayson or Tim Drake is the best Robin. Damian Wayne has improved as a character. He's much more likable than before. But is he the best Robin? Not really. Robin is Batman's sidekick, and Damian Wayne really wants to go out on his own. Apart from the most recent Tomasi Detective Comics run, like Damian just wants to chill with the Titans, or no, the Teen Titans, or before Super Sons was cancelled, chill out with the John more so than being Batman's sidekick. So I really wouldn't say Damian Wayne is the best Robin. The New 52 was great for comics, got into the hobby because of it. The New 52 isn't entirely terrible. There are good titles in there. Was it great for comics? I'm going to say that's subjective. Much like with Cole, I did get into comics because of the New 52. I joined at the tail end. Although what started my love for comics was Johns and Van Sciver's Green Lantern Rebirth. I started collecting comics, weekly, monthly, all of that during the tail end of New 52 of DCU. So to an extent, I will agree, but was it great for comics overall? It did get new readers, but it also kind of cast aside the older ones. So here or there. Bigfoot Bill by Doug TenNapel is the best comic book of 2019 so far. I wouldn't know. I didn't read it. I didn't back it. Money issues. I'm just gonna have to take your word for it. If comic shops survive, great. But if not, I'll be fine. There's Amazon. Yeah, that's entirely subjective. That's your opinion. I would rather that comic shops do survive. I love going to the comic shop that I go to. The guys that work there are amazing, great quality service. I mean, literally, I walk in, and as soon as they see me, they go to get my order, like an online order. They leave it at the counter, and because I'll usually go and pick up some other stuff in store. Like I don't have to go up and be like, hey, can I pick up the order for such and such? And they're okay, well, be right back. We'll go get it. It's like it's there at the counter waiting for me. Didn't even have to ask. That is great quality service, especially from someone like for someone like me who's been a long time customer there. I love going to comic book shops, especially the one I go to. They're great. I would be devastated if they shut down. But at the end of the day, as I always say, it's your money. You and only you get to decide how it's been used. So if you do want to use Amazon to get comics, more power to you. If you would rather go to a comic book shop, good for you. At the end of the day, it's all up to you. It's your decision. So that is it for the video. Thank you to everyone that gave their opinions / hot takes, popular or unpopular. That is all. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.